Listen! Hey, listen!
Hey guys, welcome to A Healer's Guide to Hero Kagara. I really like this fight personally, and it is fairly straightforward from a healing perspective. To begin with, there are two phases, Ice and Lightning. Which one you get first depends on the enchant on her weapons. If there are lightning bolts around them, it's lightning. If it's a glowy silver thing, it's ice. In order to practice each phase, we would have a rogue reset her using Vanish, or a hunter using Feign Death, whatever. And sometimes she would change up which went first. We had a lot of issues with lightning phase to begin with, so we often would start with that one just to make the pulls go by faster and get more proficient with that phase. For healing, you shouldn't need more than 6 healers for this. An even balance of tank and raid heals is recommended, as Focus Assault is pretty rough for us. Key things for healers to understand in this fight is basically how to rotate cooldowns. We killed her with 2 priests, 2 Resto Shaman, a Resto Druid, and a Holy Pally. Due to the nature of this fight, I will go over each phase individually. Your order may change depending on your raid composition. You may start with either lightning or ice. We chose to start with lightning, but I think it would be more of a raid decision which one you go for. Either way, you're probably going to get 2 of each. For the beginning of the fight and intermissions, the main thing you have to watch out for is the tank and Ice Lance Soakers. The tank will take focused assaults, and for that you'll need all heals on them plus the rotation of cooldowns. Our CD rotation was Hand of Sacrifice, Guardian Spirit from Priest 1, and then Guardian Spirit from Priest 2. We popped Hand of Sac at the pull. If you pull her with Lightning Phase first, Sac will not be up after Lightning, and you'll have to go with the Guardian Spirit from the first Priest. There will be 3 assaults in each intermission between Ice and Lightning. Laura would use Divine Guardian on the first, Ardent Defender on the second, and then an external healer CD on the third. He usually called for it, but healers should be prepared even if the tank doesn't. Keep to your rotation, because if you miss that third one and he doesn't have a cooldown, it's lights out. If you get into a sticky situation where no GS or sacs are up, we found that Spirit Lake Totem works fine in a pinch, but don't put yourself into that situation. We actually had to do that in our kill video if you want to check it out. If you do have to use a Spirit Lake, please make sure that you are in range of it, since we are likely to have the most health since we are not soaking or taking any kind of extreme damage. Other than healer CDs, it is imperative that the tank is bomb healed during intermissions. The raid should stack ice tombs at a central location, and the tank should move away from them as they do block line of sight. Healers will need to move themselves while the ice tomb people get into their positions, so you keep line of sight on the tanks. You also need healers to call out when they are tombed, especially if it is their turn to CD the tank. For Ice Lance stacks, we had to range do it and swap at 5-ish stacks. Anything more than that gets hard to heal with the tank taking focused assaults. So stress that they either need to swap faster or better, or use their personals. It is possible to take 8 to 10 stacks, but I had to pretty much heal them constantly, and that was just one person with one healer. Also, please do be careful that the tank does not take stacks of it, as that happened with us. Healers can step in and take some of that if that starts to happen, but it should only be temporary, and a range should get in there as soon as possible. For Ice Phase, we had healers and range stand in the center to avoid running from ice waves, since it slices DPS a bit. Healing is fairly intensive on the inside bubble, so please use your Divine Hymns and Tranks wisely. I would pop Trank as soon as we moved in, usually, and then call for a Divine Hymn about halfway through. On the second Ice Phase, we had to use a second Divine Hymn. It just depends on the damage. Caution your priests against using them during Lightning Phase, since they will need them during the Ice one. If you have an Enhancement Shaman, they can drop totems to clear melee of the bind, but healers need to be spec'd into Dispel just in case you need to dispel a slacker melee or ranged. Be careful and avoid the ice patches on the ground. Lightning Phase is pretty simple for healers. We have groups 1 through 4 assigned to a crystal location that was marked with a color or raid beam. Group 5 was healers. I assigned each healer to cover one group. Since they are all in the same group, Priest's Prayer of Healing should be sufficient to heal them up. Be careful that the closest person to the crystal will take the most amount of damage once the beam is linked, so have it be someone in the group that has a personal cooldown. Mage's Ice Block is really nice for it, but be careful because they can only use it for one of the lightning phases. One healer will have to connect the beams as I did in the kill video. It is fairly simple, just run to whatever crystal you're going to be in and be about 5 to 10 yards from the next person. It is recommended that everyone have set positions before you pull. Just because healers aren't doing the lines doesn't mean they shouldn't know what's going on. If someone dies, a healer will have to take their spot in the line, so be very vocal about where that person's spot is. In order to take little damage, Once lightning phase begins, we would get into our position except for one person in the entire raid near the crystal. Once everyone is in position, he steps into the line and activates the chain. If you do this correctly, lightning phase will only take about 20 to 30 seconds. Anything longer and healing starts to get nasty. Healers who are not supposed to be chaining need to be careful that they do not chain to other lines. In order to do this, you need to keep directly in the center and more than 10 yards away from everyone else. Be careful about pets chaining as well. As always, do not forget to use raid TDs like Rallying Cry and Raid Walls or Guardians or Spiritlings. I hope this helps and have fun with Hagara.